Khichdi, a fantastic recipe, one of my favourites, and it's using lentils, rice, vegetables and wonderful spices that have very good healing properties. I've already got some vegetable oil in here, just a couple of tablespoons. I'm going to add in a little bit of black pepper, fantastic for coughs and colds, anything you've got wrong with digestion. Tastes great if you just boil them up in a little bit of water if you're not feeling too well. Cumin seeds. Cumin seeds, again, extremely good for digestion. Give that a stir. Now you can start to see it sizzling, you can start to get the aromas. Let's also add in turmeric. It is the spice that stains your clothes, so do be careful with it. It's extremely good for anything if you've got any problems internally, coughs, colds, fevers. Very good externally if you've ever got any scars. If you just rub a little bit of turmeric on there, it'll help your blood clot as well. I'm going to add Pathak's Balti paste. A fantastic paste to use. It's got over 20 healing spices. The great thing about Balti paste is it's just spices preserved in oil. But because they are just spices and nothing more, they do need a little bit of protection. Add a little bit of water. If you don't like your dishes as fiery as Balti, which is a medium, then you can always use korma paste or tikka masala paste. The aroma smells fantastic. You can smell all those spices I added at the beginning and all these other ones which I've also got in my spice tin. We've got some coriander, which is a wonderful spice for digestion again, and it's used in most Indian dishes, so you will recognise the flavour. It's got a lovely texture as well. I've also got cinnamon, which is actually the bark of a tree. Smells fantastic and adds a lovely sweetness to the dish, but it's also very, very good for improving your memory. We've also got some green cardamom in there. Green cardamom is actually my favourite spice. It's known as Queen of the Spices. It's got very, very good breath freshening properties, so very, very good if you want to suck on something after a meal. And it's also very, very good for digestion. It's got a lovely green colour, but when you actually cook with it, it starts to turn white. Cloves always remind people of Christmas time, but Indians actually use it all year round. And it actually has very, very good properties for your blood as well. And then last but not least, chilies. Chilies are always an Indian food in different quantities. There's red and there's green. And if you like your dishes a bit more fiery than what the Balti paste is going to give you, just put a few more chilies in there. They're very high in vitamin A and C. And if you've got any problems internally that you want to blow out any congestion, they're fantastic for that. So now you can see that the paste is actually starting to cook through. They're starting to release the oil that's actually absorbed into the paste. Next I'm going to add the lentils. Green lentils with the husk taken off, split down the middle. You can buy them like this, and all I've done is just wash them very, very well in water and just soak them for a couple of hours just to help them swell a little bit. You can use any lentils, and you can buy lentils everywhere now. Those go straight in. And I'm also going to be using some rice as well. All I've done with the rice is wash it in several changes of water and then again just left them to soak for about 30 minutes. You want to give that a good stir to get coated in all the paste. In India, they actually don't use the word curry, they use masala. So anything can be a masala that's got a little bit of sauce. So this dish actually, what we're doing now, where we're actually cooking off the spices, we're actually making a masala. The great thing about using rice and lentils, especially in this particular dish, is that it's actually very, very high in protein, which is perfect for Indians, because a lot of Indians don't actually eat very much meat, and most of India is predominantly vegetarian, and so they get all of their sustenance that they need in just either a one-pot dish like this, or they'll actually have their rice separately, and they actually make like a lentil soup, which is a dal. We're ready to add in our next ingredient, which is actually going to put in our vitamins and minerals. We're adding in some leeks. This is just one leek, roughly chopped. Leeks are great because it saves you adding onions, and it's a nice ingredient to add because it has a lovely vibrant green colour. The next thing I need to do is add in plenty of boiling water. You want enough to cover the grains and the lentils by about 5 centimetres. Now the great thing about this is because the water's already really hot, it's actually going to start bubbling pretty quickly, and so nothing's going to stick to your pan. I want to add in my potatoes now. I've just peeled these and just roughly chopped them. These are going to add in all the bulk into the dish, as well as obviously all the lentils are already in there. Just need to put the lid on. This needs to cook for a good 20 minutes. And I've already had one of these cooking away. This just reminds me of when I was young. My mum used to make this recipe for me, and actually her grandma gave her the recipe, and so one day I guess I'll make it for my children, but it's been passed down through our generations for years. The potatoes are breaking down, the lentils are starting to cook through, they're almost ready, the rice is actually almost cooked through. But let's just add in our next ingredient, and I want to add in a little bit of colour now. So I'm going to add in some tomato. You can use cherry tomatoes. You don't even have to use tomato if it's not your favourite vegetable. Just roughly chop. And I'm also going to add in one of my favourite vegetables, which is spinach. Spinach is very, very high in iron. It looks like a lot, but it does break down. So just put in a handful at a time. If you don't like spinach, you can use rocket. You could even use any leftover vegetables like lettuce or cucumber. They will break down and go a little bit softer, but it actually tastes fantastic in this dish. Once all that spinach is in there and you've actually stirred it all the way through, you just need to pop the lid on there, just leave it for a few more minutes just to cook down. This dish is very, very affordable, very nutritious. It's actually less than £1 per portion. Perfect if you've got a large family, or even if you're just cooking for one, just put the rest in the freezer. Perfect for any night of the week. Now this is going to be pretty much ready now. We just need to check the seasoning. There is already salt in the paste, but there are a lot of lentils here. We have added potatoes, so I'm going to add just a little pinch of salt. And I am also going to add in just a pinch of sugar as well, just to balance those flavours out. I've added in tomatoes, and tomatoes are a little bit acidic. So just a pinch of sugar. And one last thing that I always like to add whenever I cook anything Indian is lime juice. The juice of half lime is all you're going to need. You don't need more than that. And if you don't like lime juice, you don't have to add it. It will just brighten up all the flavours in there. We have used some really, really strong, tasty flavours. Now this should be ready, but we do need to just check the lentils are cooked through. So the best way to check it is if you actually just press a lentil in between your fingers. Lovely and soft, that's perfect, that's absolutely ready. Now we just want to check that the seasoning was okay. One taste just to check we've added enough salt. We did add pepper at the beginning as well, you can always add a bit more now. That tastes wonderful, ready to serve. Tastes really nice if you actually accompany it with a little bit of bread. Any Indian bread, chapatis, naan breads, they're all both very nice. And then I always like to add something a little at the end, which is great for colour, but also very, very good for nutrients. A little bit of fresh pomegranate seeds. Perfect. Khichdi, a one-pot wonder.